I'm Richard Fletcher and I am here with Wolves reporter Joe Edwards. Joe has just come back from Compton press conference with Nuno at Huddersfield Town tomorrow night at the John Smith Stadium, and Nuno, despite Huddersfield's league position, is expecting a tough game.
He is, and we know why, don't we? Of course, Huddersfield came to Molineux in November, and Wolves were the heavy favourites, of course, going into that game, and Huddersfield did a job on Wolves. It was a 2-0 win for the Terriers that day, and it was deserved. They just set up to stifle Wolves. They did just that. They got the goals at the good times, 2 Aaron Moy strikes that day. So, of course, things have changed a lot for both teams since then. Wolves have gone from strength to strength. They're 8th in the Premier League, on the cusp of setting a record points tally in the Premier League, and Huddersfield have been cut adrift at the bottom. But Nuno says you can't look at it like that. Underestimating the Terriers would be the biggest mistake Wolves could make. And you're looking at the stats, and everything is going in Wolves' favour. I think I tweeted one out earlier that Jimenez has scored 4 in his last 4 games for Wolves. Huddersfield have scored 4 in their last 12. So it just shows the difference between the two teams. But, as Nuno says, complacency can't creep in, because if they do switch off, Huddersfield, as we saw at Molineux, do have the potential to punish Wolves.
And what's interesting is actually out of the last 5 meetings between Wolves and Huddersfield have actually won the last 4. And again, earlier in the season, Huddersfield was still towards the bottom. Wolves are doing quite well, but in Aaron Moy, Billing, they've got some players who can still create Wolves some problems. They have.
That's a very good point as well, because the record against Huddersfield isn't the most favourable. I think the last time that the Wolves won at Huddersfield was a 4-1 victory in 2015. Connor Cody scored an own goal for Huddersfield in Wolves' favour. So that's how far you kind of have to go back. But Huddersfield, as you say there, that midfield, especially on that day, really shone, didn't it? Bealey did a number on Neves and Martinho, and then that allowed Moy to kind of get the space further forward and score those goals. So if those two are on song, who knows what could happen. But as we say, if Wolves are on the metal, if they're anything like that they were on Bournemouth, albeit without that kind of conceding that early penalty, whether it was a penalty or not is another debate. But if they get the way that they can be playing, I think they should have enough. They should have too much for Huddersfield. Sorry.
And something that came up in the press conference was Wolves have now reached 40 points. And Nuno was questioned on the fact that if Wolves achieve 1 more point during this campaign, they will go past the previous record total of Wolves in the Premier League, and that's something Nuno and Wolves should be very proud of. Did he expand on that at all?
He's proud, and of course he is proud, but he said that the focus is not the points or the results. He's kind of always driven on the performances. It's not the end result, it's how you get there. That's the kind of the way that Nuno thinks, and he's obviously happy with how Wolves have been playing. He says, honestly, that he doesn't look at the table, he doesn't dwell on it too much. You've got to think that he's got to have an idea of Wolves, though. He obviously knows that they're not in the bottom 3. He says he's not dwelling on that too much. Obviously, the big thing for him is that Wolves don't rest on the laurels. They don't think, right, we've broke a record, we can just stop there. Because you see it sometimes, don't you, with these teams that get promoted, or even teams that have been in the Premier League for a few years, that they just think we'll get to that 40-point cushion and then we're safe.
Take the foot off the gas.
Take the foot off the gas, and that's not Wolves. That's not them at all. They've got to 40 points. They want to get to 41 to break that record, or 43. But then they want to keep on achieving the new things. They don't want to rest on the laurels at all.
And with regards to the team, obviously it's been a very settled team for the last few games now. But we've seen good appearances, substitute appearances from Adama Traore, Ivan Cavallero. Can you see either of those maybe pushing Diogo Jota to partner Jimenez up front?
Maybe there is a kind of a question about that Huddersfield defence. Obviously they've been conceding goals quite at a regular rate, and you're thinking, could Adama's speed be of use against a defence low on confidence? But I think if you've got Jota and Jimenez, I think those two will play, and there's no injury worries either. Obviously, Martinho got that elbow in the face by Lerma at Bournemouth. I think he's had to have a bit of a tidy up of his mouth. I think he had some sort of cut there, but he's trained fine and he'll be involved. So Wolves are full strength for this. No injury worries. I think Huddersfield are pretty much full strength as well. well, as much as full strength they can be at the moment. But it's a good game. It's a chance to get that 3-point cushion to kind of set that record and then go on to the next thing. And obviously Cardiff on Saturday, if you can get a win ahead of that, go into that with confidence.
And with the run of games that are coming up, Cardiff at home, Huddersfield away, Wolves will really sort of be expecting and seeing an opportunity to develop more points, go past Watford again and cement that 7th position.
Yeah, they will. They will, undoubtedly, but Nuno keeps saying we're not focusing on the table, we're not looking at that too much. He's looking for the performances, and I think his kind of mindset is if you get the performances, the results will take care of themselves quite naturally. So, as you say, that point at Bournemouth, I think in respect was a good start to this run of games. I think a lot of people had been offered a point at Bournemouth beforehand, they would have taken it, and then they'd like wins at Huddersfield and a win against Cardiff. So fingers crossed, that's what happens.
And what are you thinking? What's your prediction?
I think Wolves will just have a bit too much for Huddersfield. I think you've seen it, for Huddersfield over the past few weeks. They tend to put up a fight, but once they concede there, I think the heads naturally drop. They're kind of used to losing games now. So I think if Wolves can get an early goal, maybe a 2-0, 3-0 victory.
And of course, something Wolves will not want to do is if Huddersfield beat Wolves, then Huddersfield will obviously have done the double against Wolves in a season where they've been so poor throughout the season. That's not something Wolves want to be associated with.
Exactly, you don't want to beat that team, do you? Right. And Huddersfield are on 11 points, level with that record low from Derby all those years back. Huddersfield will be desperate to not be level with that Derby team. They'll love to get at least a point against Wolves, but Wolves, as you say, we've got to keep that ball rolling, hopefully have that momentum going into Cardiff.
Brilliant, thank you. Tim Spears, Nathan Judah will be at the John Smith Stadium tomorrow evening. For all the build-up to this one, please log on to expressandStar.com.